You are listening to a TechSide Network podcast, TechSide.net, casual conversation from technically passionate people.
Let's get hooked.
Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. And it's incredible what this has done. It's unbelievable.
We are thrilled with this product. We're super excited about it. It scrolls like butter.
And it's incredible what this has done. It's unbelievable. It's the ultimate digital device. But there is one more thing.
Hey everybody, our TechSide listeners are in for a treat. We have the first ever WWDC TechSide recap. We have combined three of our favorite TechSide shows into one WWDC extravaganza. So bringing in some co-hosts from all three of these particular podcasts, the GTD Jedi, you have Tech Talk, and also iOS Docked. We've got the majority of our co-hosts from these shows, put them into one show so that we can kind of get feedback from different mindsets and different podcasts and put it into one great show for our listening audience. So they're going to get the same show no matter which podcast you're subscribed to. This will be the next episode in your feed. We hope you enjoy. Our top stories tonight is brought to you by our patron, George Williams Jr. Thank you, George, for your continued support of this entire network. Let me go ahead and introduce today's great panel. I have with me my co-host of a decade plus, Jerry Goldbaum. Hello, Jerry.
What? No seedy Star Wars character for me tonight?
I left it out tonight, man. I'm getting straight to the point tonight.
All right. Hey, Clay, how you doing?
Doing great. Good to have you on this special show. We also have with us Colin Gold.
Good evening, Clay. I was actually hoping for a seedy Star Wars character too this evening, but I get it.
And then wrapping things up, we have Jay Miller. Hello, Jay.
I'm one bad mema bantha.
Oh, it's going to be that kind of night.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to go through here, and the way I think we ought to do this is I'm going to go through and get through a segment, ask you guys if there's anything in particular you'd like to discuss in the segment, and then we'll pause for that, and then we'll move on to the next thing. The whole idea here is that this WWDC event, if we were to list everything out, would take us an hour or so, but we're going to try to do this segment in under 30 minutes. We'll see how it goes. So we opened up WWDC with developers' creativity creating the opening video for the entire event. And the way they did this was they got different developers on to talk about if they were in charge of the WWDC intro video, what they would do, how creative would they get. And so they basically took the brainy ideas from these developers and actually put them together and showed what it would look like, in real time. I thought this was a little bit cheesy, didn't enjoy it very much. What about you guys?
Nope.
Felt kind of flat for me.
Nope.
Oh, you guys are all such sourpusses. This was really funny. I don't know what you're talking about, but it was totally enjoyable, and you guys are just sourpusses. I don't know what you expected. Somebody running across the entire Apple Park, by the way, which I was there last week, running across the entire Apple Park and the James Bond theme. It was really good. So I got to give the developers credit, and the way they were creative, I give it a thumbs up.
Jay,
I
any
didn't
thoughts?
see it at all. I completely missed it. So
You didn't
sorry.
miss anything. You didn't miss anything. All right. So it turns out that in 2020, WWDC had 25 million viewers. That is a very big number, and it shows you how popular the platform is with its users, so much so that they're willing to watch 90 to 120 minutes of, basically developer talk about what's happening with their favorite platform. I think that says something a lot, about the platform, the direction it's headed, and the audience it has. What do you guys think about 25 million viewers?
I think it also has something to do with the fact that everybody was indoors, lockdown most likely where you were, and thus, allowed people to, have those multiple screens going in which, you weren't at an office where you were able to, or not able to, depending on your network settings, stream this thing. So, being home, I think, helped facilitate a lot of people that would normally not watch it when it went live. And I think, obviously, the same thing this year as well, because we're not all together back in the office, so to speak. So, yeah.
Was that 25 million live, or was it just 25 people or 25 million people viewed
the event?
Okay,
Yeah.
so that tells me that 25 million people clicked a link and at least 1 second of the video was playing. And I agree that more than likely 95% of those people were also sitting in meetings that they could not get out of with WWDC on the other screen, which was exactly why I didn't watch WWDC until the very last part of it this year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that 25 million is total viewers of the keynote or total interactions throughout the week with all the different engineering and all those different other seminars as well?
Yeah.
I would think it'd be the event itself. That's my guess. 25 million viewers of WWDC. We know that there's a lot of video segments that go into making up the entire event, but I think WWDC is the general population show of the show. And I would guess that that's what they're talking about, but that's just guessing. I don't have the numbers on that.
I think it would be all the videos, all of the sessions and things like that. Because, I mean, even still, that's a massive number. I mean, even if they had 100 different breakout sessions, PyCon US is arguably as large as WWDC on a scale level. And, I mean, they don't get those numbers, but I mean, also they don't have the infrastructure set up that Apple does, and they also don't have the marketing machine that Apple does as well. I feel like this number, it is a big number. This number tells us nothing. This is a gloat number, just like the billions and billions of dollars that they have paid out to developers, which could be billions and billions of more dollars if they reduced their take. And in the market. So I feel like this, as well as most of the statistics that Apple provides at these keynotes, they're feel-good numbers, they're quick claps, but at the end of the day, they don't mean anything.
Okay.
No shareholder price went up because of those numbers. They may not have gone down because of those numbers, but they didn't go up.
No shareholder prices went up with Jay's segment just now. Okay. So you feel like slightly inflated, maybe, that basically these aren't people that are necessarily invested in WWDC as a fan, but maybe out of duty, out of boredom, out of a lot of other things, and just everything encompassed equals the 25 million viewers.
100%.
Okay. We're going to break off the next part, iOS 15 features, into communication, the communication area here. We have two big subjects to go over. We have FaceTime and we have messages, both of these getting very significant upgrades, most of which came from FaceTime. So FaceTime got what's called Share Play, allowing you to listen together, watch together, and share your screen. I thought this was very clever. I didn't see it coming whatsoever, and it makes complete sense. It kind of reminds me of, I want to say there was an interface with the Web OS operating system where you could actually request help and an actual representative would actually pop up on your screen in a little mini window and help you through your problem as they can see what's on your screen. This kind of reminded me of that. I think this is really cool. I don't know how many people would actually have their phone in their hand and say, hey, let's watch a movie together. But it's cool that you could do that. I could see many other uses, like, hey, watch this YouTube clip with me. This is hilarious. That I can see. I can see listening to a new album before maybe you're going to a concert of the same artist and you're eager to check out some of the new stuff. Maybe a business meeting, whiteboard situations. You want to brainstorm on some ideas together. Or maybe, let's say, I'm having Jay do some design work on podcast for me. And I'm like, hey, I kind of like this font and this logo, and what do you think? And we're working back and forth, and he's showing me a screen what he's working on, and I think that kind of stuff is pretty cool. I would really like to see what it feels like in person with maybe my management team or something like that, or even family, and be able to share some things. How do you guys envision using this, and do you feel like it's a standout feature for iOS?
I'll go first because I have no use for any of this. But what I will say is, number one, I think it's a year too late, and I think Apple was playing catch up on this.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were trying too hard to become WebEx or
Zoom
or whatever. And while I get some of your points, Clay, in terms of potentially leveraging some of this stuff, I mean, they didn't market it as that. It more toward, and I know I'm going to show my age here, but it's more toward a bunch of kids sitting together and Apple thinking that people want to watch television while they have their phone in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't see this as something that was, awe-inspiring. And for the most part, most of the tech podcasts that I listened to this weekend revolving this summary, I mean, it was pretty much lukewarm, especially in this area. But I don't know what the rest of the fellas think about it. But I just thought it was too little, too late.
Jerry, let me let you in on a little secret here. My 19-year-old daughter watches TV with her phone in her hand.
Right, and that's the whole point, isn't it?
It's just the way that it works.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. It's just for, no one over 19 or 20 or 21, obviously I'm just setting arbitrary limits here, is going to watch TV together with, like, I'm not going to sit there and watch a football game with a bunch of friends. I'm going to get together with them and watch it together. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So yes, it's probably for a younger generation, but who are those younger generation? And is this something that Apple should open up its WWDC with? That was another questionable thing that I thought. It's like, if this was last year, I think from myself, I would have had a much warmer reception to this.
They could have made this a one more thing last year,
or something, or
Yeah.
But I just felt it was a little bit too little, too late. Just trying too hard to become, those video services that we've all known over the last year. So that's just my opinion.
Here's where I agree and disagree with everybody here. I'm going to start with the disagree first. I also, when I do watch TV, about once, twice, 3 times a year, mostly to watch the Super Bowl, mostly to watch the World Series, mostly to watch any other sports thing. I also watch it with my phone in my hand because I'm live tweeting everything that's happening. I feel like this is great for watch parties. If you're going to watch the Grammys or the Oscars, if that's your thing, or if you're going to watch, the Super Bowl, or you're going to watch the finals or something like that, and you're watching it with your friends that, are on the other side of the country, and you just want to share that message. I think that this is a great technology for that. Here's the problem and this is why I agree with you. You have to also have the providers of those services opt in to set up this technology. When Clay was talking about it, my first thought was, well, first of all, don't ask me to do any design work. I am not the person for that. But also, if I'm working, I'm using the Google products, the Google suite of products. I mean, that's what we use in our work, in my day-to-day. Google still doesn't support Apple Pencil. So I highly doubt they're going to enable support for this inside of their apps. That's probably going to be the same for Microsoft, for the Office 365 suite. They're kind of the only ones that are really handling the enterprise at that level. I think that this will be a great way to stand out if you're a new competing technology. I think that that'll be great. Doing any type of collaborative creation, any type of collaborative like building, developing, things like that. I think this is a great technology for that. the big names in business aren't going to adopt this because they haven't adopted any of the other previous tools that Apple has put out.
Yep, fair enough. Colin, you got anything to add? You're muted, Colin.
Yeah, it's hard when you call me on me and I'm not expecting it. Yes, I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Messages didn't get much, but it did get photo collages and photo galleries that will be live, kind of like right in the feed. So that will expand nicely in your iMessage feeds. So that was kind of neat. Nothing major, nothing earth-shattering there. News, music, photo, Safari, podcast, TV apps.
Whoa!
What's up?
Are you just gonna skip over FaceTime is now available all over the place? You can just.
It's not yet.
Oh, okay. My bad. Go ahead.
I've made the mistake of there was another open API. Was it AirPlay?
Yeah.
AirPlay, and that never happened. So I'm not even going to bring up something that could be vapor announcement. I just figured I'd wait until the next, until it became a reality.
It apparently that does exist already, though. I think there's been a few podcasters that have talked about they've initiated a FaceTime call and sent the link out and gone to the browser and done all that stuff.
No, good. Well, maybe this is really happening then. So if FaceTime and Apple follow through on their FaceTime plans, we may be seeing it everywhere, and it becomes some kind of new universal standard for conversation. I doubt it will garner the business that Zoom and Teams and WebEx does right now, but it's a start. They're in the game now, and they've already got 1 billion devices with FaceTime built in without having to install an app. So
I just wonder how,
and it's free.
What the roadmap looks like in terms of
no 40-minute limit.
A roadmap in terms of getting an API out there to someone like with a green bubble on an Android device or whatever, and allowing them, eventually. I can't see Apple just sitting there saying,
Jerry, it's a web link, right? So if I want to do a FaceTime call with you and you're on Android, I send you a web link. It opens up in a browser.
Right, but if I'm on the Android phone, I can't send it to you to start the call, as I understand it.
That's correct.
You can initiate it only from an Apple device over to the Android side. So
you know who the host is going to be, the Apple user. Right.
Okay. But, and that's why I brought up the fact of the roadmap, and will Apple kind of wrap this around, an application kind of like what they did, slow rolling out of Apple Music to Android and so on and so forth. I mean, is this the first step or is this the only step?
Mm-hmm.
The last thing we need is Apple rolling out another application.
Getting back to messages, photo collages, photo galleries, news, music, photo, Safari, podcast, TV apps, all of these services and applications have now a shared with you feature for saved items in messages. So this is kind of cool. If I send Jerry a song, from my favorite band, Culture Club, okay, and he gets it on his end and clicks on it and watches the video. It's like, that's pretty cool. Okay. That's not the end of it. Now, when he goes into his photo library or the music app, however that comes through, I guess if it's through the music app, it'll end up in his music app. He will actually have a new section called Shared with You. And he can always go back to that Culture Club video that I sent him.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
This works with a number
for some
of
reason
different services. What's that?
For some reason, I keep feeling like this is the Hail, Stales, and Fails segment.
Yeah, we got that still coming, buddy.
Nobody's going to use that. Who's going to use that?
I mean, I'm going to use it, and I'm going to be upset that it's there the entire time because
He's going to use it. He's going to share Lisa and the cold jam with me.
Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely am going to do that.
I mean, how does that work in Safari though? Is it going to be just bookmarks? Am I going to have this shared with you like tab on every new tab every time? That I don't want.
I'm guessing it'd be a folder that has maybe all the links that are shared with you. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a video on how to disable this.
You don't have to collect this stuff anymore. It's all in one place. Anything anybody shared with me is in one spot within each app. So that's kind of, we'll see. Especially if people share with you a lot. But like one thing that I do, people share me, share with me funny memes and gifs and stuff like that. And I kind of like them, so I save them, right? But I save them in a shared iCloud photo album called Scrapbook, and I just throw them all in there. And I can always go back and see all the funny stuff people have sent me without having to dig through message threads. Now they just save me the trouble. Now it's in one place, it's in the shared with me, and I don't have to do the work. It does it for me. So it's kind of cool. Not nerve-shattering, but it's still kind of cool. Now, the next segment is pretty earth-shattering for iOS, I think. That is the new focus features. So notifications now are going to be prettier to look at. They're going to have contact photos, large, rich icons, and a notification summary. This is how I imagine this, and Jerry will appreciate this. Jerry, you remember the app? It's probably still out. It was like a magazine, personal magazine app. Zite, but before Zite, what was the other one?
Flipboard.
Flipboard.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I imagine it being. I imagine my notification summary being a flipboard of notifications with images and text, right? And links. And everything just being in a little scrollable feed. And I think that's kind of cool if it works like that.
Right.
They're sorted by priority. They won't contain messages, but they will show you, who's messaged you. So you can open that up and expand on that and all that kind of stuff. And you don't have to go through all the text just to get to the senders that you want to see. They've also added do not disturb enhancements with notify anyway feature. So this is kind of like, I guess, maybe one of those Slack-like features that you could say, hey, I'm really kind of busy. I need to focus on my work. But if it's an emergency, you can still get through. And then they have a new focus thing called, it's like profiles, finally coming to iOS. But what you can do is you can separate the presentation of your device, the home screen, the apps, the notifications, the HomeKit, whatever, all these different things that are modified to take over your device at a certain time or location based off a focus link or a focus tab. I didn't spend a lot of time looking at this. I'm going to have to get into this a little bit deeper, but from my understanding, I hope it works this way. I can go to work and Focus will launch for work. And now my home screen has all of my critical work apps, right? It has my maybe my Keynote, my Numbers, and my Pages apps, and a little work suite on there. I'm getting all the work notifications while all the personal stuff from Twitter and everything else maybe doesn't come in. And not only that, but they've allowed you to add multiple copies of the same app. So maybe if I use messages on my work from work and home, I can put messages on work and home profiles or focus areas. There's a lot to talk about here. I think, I don't know how to wrap this all up and with a tight, pretty bow on it, but I think this is a really big deal, and it's going to require a lot of exploration and play around time to get it just right the way you'd like it on your devices. Exactly. Where you're happy with it.
And Clay, I think for someone like you, this can be leveraged to customize the device the way you want it. My fear is with this, for me, just looking at this, nothing in here jumps out at me. It's like, oh, I needed that. I want that, so let me get that out of the way. The second part is, even for most people, and this is where my concern is that Apple keeps pressing, the AI. The AI is going to help you. The AI is going to do this. The AI is going to suggest things. If the AI is not smart enough to kind of walk you through this or to suggest certain things to you, I think a lot of these are going to go unused and it's just going to sit there. And a lot of people are not going to use it. Because I can tell you, even as a power user, half these things I don't care about, right? Unless, I go in and start playing with it, but that kind of, you said it, Clay, you said it perfectly. I'm going to have to do a deep dive into this. And I don't think that's where Apple wants people to do. So I'm wondering whether or not the AI is kind of bring you into that, like that summary notification thing. That sounds interesting. But if a lot of people have to go in and kind of choose which one they want, I don't know how many people are going to do that, and whether or not, it'll be a feature that is absolutely necessary for a lot of people. So I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
on that.
No, all good points.
Yeah.
Comment anymore?
I've got one word: tinker. Tinker, 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 tinker. That is what I'm hearing. Apple wants you to spend more time tinkering with your phone, because if you're tinkering with your phone, you're using your phone, and they can say, our users spend so much time on their phone, and I agree with what Jerry's saying. Like I personally am just like, this is cool. I'm not going to use it. If I do use it, I will play around with it. I'll tinker with it. And then eventually I'll be like, I'm not using this. I think I've looked at my phone maybe an hour today, and that was when I was on lunch. Other than that, I was using my Mac, and I don't even want to begin to think how they're going to set up my desktop when I'm in specific focuses. Like I will lose my mind if all of a sudden I can't find files and applications that I'm looking for. That's a good way to get me to never install Monterey. But I think that this is Apple trying to provide a layer of customization without giving away the entire farm. And I think that that's one of the things that like Android's been kicking their butt on. Even with these custom pages, I still can't put apps wherever I want them to be in terms of on the screen. I have to still use the grid. Sure, I can use widgets, but I kind of gave up on widgets a long time ago. Like all of this stuff these are things that people will play with for a few months, and then after that, people are just going to be set in their ways, and I don't think things are going to change. I don't think this is going to move the needle, as David Sparks would say.
And
I'm going to disagree with you. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Colin. Go ahead.
I'm going to disagree with you, Jay. I think that if I was able to set my phone up, if you're going to quote David Sparks, to contextually use my computer the way that I want to use it when I'm in a mode, I think that it can work very, very well. It's not for when I'm at work, it's for when I'm not at work, right? So that my phone doesn't have to beep me, but can give me the ability to beep me if I am at work. I just think that there's a lot to be said for that. And the fact that you can set it up for all your devices, you can just create your mode. And then the other thing about being able to create a shortcut to change your home screen on your iOS devices, so that if I'm in work mode, only the work apps that you would want show up at the top. I think that's great. I think there's a lot to be said for this. I will agree that we're all going to play with it for a really long time, but I think there is a percentage of people out there that will really use it for how it's designed.
I can imagine, and this is exactly something I would do. I can imagine setting up just a blank screen with maybe a picture of my family, which is, like my completely don't give me anything. No notifications, no nothing, and all it is a picture of my family and maybe a phone and messaging dock or something. Maybe not even that. Maybe I go dock. If you can change the dock, maybe the dock is static and just stays there the whole time. But if you can just make it where I have no apps on the screen, and I select my downtime focus and I get no notifications, maybe just emergency calls and that's it. And that would be brilliant. Maybe it's something where if I'm watching movie time, maybe I call movie time focus. Mm-hmm. And maybe, my screen dims, maybe it sets the brightness level, maybe it does all these other things. I think there's a lot to play with here. And my question to you guys is, all right, so Apple did this to help us with our, they led into this by talking about how we are glued to our phones pretty much, right? They talked about, hey, this is a day and age where this phone does so much for us. It's so powerful. It does so many things. But there are those people that just feel like they need to get away sometimes, and they're being distracted and they're being pulled in different directions when they're really trying to pull away from their phone, and that's why they created this. But I know me, and I know before I get to that point, there's going to be about 30 hours of playtime and tinkering, as Jay mentioned, to get it to that point to where I'm set up exactly where I want to set it up, because that's how I am. I'll spend.
And even if you think you have it, life changes from day to day. And while you may think, I don't know, I'll just say a couple apps like Keynote and Numbers are your two applications because you're at work, right? There's times when you just want to, open up Twitter. Yeah, and I'm just throwing apps out there, whatever your favorite distraction. And I understand that focus is meant to either eliminate or minimize the number of distractions. But those distractions do exist, and we're human beings. And, you're going to spend so much mental energy trying to get that perfect work screen. And then you want to launch Twitter just because you want to, and it won't be there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think it's just a lot to do overnight. But what I did find interesting is a lot of this stuff we kind of had in some feature, like absolutely do not disturb was there, right? You could define do not disturb during this time, and these are the people that I want broken if I get a text message or a phone call from. And they kind of de-escalated it and, had it subsumed by this focus thing. So it's there. It's just it's a step down now within this focus thing. So, hey, I think it's going to take a lot of thinking, and, the one time it doesn't work for you is like, that's how I am. Like the one time it fails, I'm going to be like, the hell with this. I'm putting Twitter on my home screen, leave me alone. And I'm just using that as an example, whatever the app is,
And we have to remember, just like every other nerd that has a podcast has to remember, there are very few of us. Apple does not make as many features for us as they do the rest of the space. I believe they added that Pages feature because they knew that the media report would be like, Apple unveils better control when working, still doesn't let you customize your home screen. Like that would be the headline. And now they have a way to kind of get around that, which it's kind of funny. I looked up The Verge's setup, and it was like The Verge's article is quite literally, you can focus mode brings better control of your system, but there's a catch. Here it is. iOS 15 gives you better tools to fight the fire hose of notifications with a catch. Of course, this was an idea to suppress sensationalism, and unfortunately, it didn't fully work. But I think that it's fine. I don't want to ever be the person, and I had someone correct me on this, and I'm glad they did. I don't want to be the person that features for the sake of adding a feature isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, I think that this is a step in the direction that they want to go. I don't think this is the step that they want to be at.
All right. Well, focus is coming whether we're ready for it or not. I look forward to more focus in my life. So. Intelligence. Couple of features here, guys. Live text. Now, we've seen this in apps in the App Store already. Maybe Apple does it better. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. But what this does is captures text off anything, and images, clipboards. It allows for lookup, and then you can actually take your finger on any image, scroll over the text, and copy it, put it anywhere you need it. I think this would be also really cool to work with, understand several languages. So you could capture some text and then run it right through the translator right there after grabbing the text. There's already, like I said, there's apps that do this already. Do you think the fact that it's built in and capturing all the text in your images, if you wanted to, for some smart intelligence, filtering, do you feel like this is going to be used more, and maybe these other apps are done for?
Absolutely. I could have used this last year when I was in an office, whiteboarding. It's perfect. That was the perfect use case. How many times have you taken a picture of a whiteboard just to make sure that you've, gotten the meeting context, in terms of what someone's trying to communicate, and then, sit there and look at the picture and it's, how pretty. But the text to the picture to conversion OCR, I look forward to that. I mean, that's just phenomenal.
this will be the feature that people will learn about and then immediately want to show their friends. This will be the thing that's like, this will be the thing that my wife is going to 6 months after iOS 15 is released to the public be like, did you know you could do this? And I'm going to go, yes, I did. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong answer. No, that's amazing. This to me is probably the most important thing. And I do love what some of the pundits have been saying. This is a good example of Apple at its best. This is Apple being late to the party with image to text and OCR recognition, but doing it in a way that is on device, which is great, doing it in a way that is secure, safe for everybody, doing it in a way that doesn't require extra clicks, talking about you, Google Lens and Microsoft, whatever you had. I think that the fact that you will have this built into your phone, you won't have to think about it, and this shows the power of Apple's machine learning on device, which to me is amazing, and I still can't believe that that's happening. But yeah, I'm totally. This is probably, in my opinion, the most important feature. Probably my second favorite.
Wow. Okay, and they also mentioned in the same bullet points here that there's a visual lookup also. So if you see an image or something or a logo within a picture, it'll actually scan those too. You can tap on these images and get more information. Maybe somebody's wearing a T-shirt that has a logo on it to a particular app or something, right? You could just tap on that shirt and then get more information. And it's some really cool stuff that they're doing with images.
Lens, is what you're saying.
What's that?
It's like Google Lens, right?
Yeah. It's like Apple Lens, right?
I wonder how good that's going to be. And I only say that because Google has the power of reverse image search. Like, I feel like unless Apple is licensing some technology that gives them that power to just do a search, they're going to have to rely on all of their, like I said, on-device machine learning, which is good, but I don't think will be as powerful as the Google engine doing its thing that receives millions and millions of requests every single day and is constantly improving. Again, it's a nice feature to have. It's great that they want to do this. I'm kind of more a fan of the, like, take a picture, get the phone number off of it. Like, that's super awesome. People are going to love that. I know the next one, or one of them, was like you can take a picture of a dog and tap on it. It'll tell you the breed of the dog.
Yeah, that's the visual lookup, tap and learn. Yeah.
Yeah, I've already heard people say they took a picture of a cow and it shows them a dog. I mean, it's only going to be bad until it gets better. So, like, I'm glad that they're doing it, but at the same time, I think that the focus should be on the things that they're going to do.
March 1965.
Very, very well.
Like the nutrition apps that we use, or I use anyway, the ones that actually you can scan a picture of your meal and it tries to, recognize the images as whatever kind of food they are and then try to approximate the calorie intake of that specific meal. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if there's some of that in this, is this going to be opening up the door for me to be able to have a better recognition of what I'm eating and be able to input those calories for me?
I doubt it. It's probably the same technology. Because, I mean, like, Keyboard Maestro has built-in OCR of images, and it's all using the onboard OCR technology that Apple provides. They're not licensing another tool. And that's what I'm saying. That's what this is using. It's using features that already existed. Like, you could do this with shortcuts. What they're doing is they're making it so that it's a single press. It's not, take a picture, open up shortcuts, go scroll and look for OCR text, and then hope that it turned good. It's just take the picture, highlight the text, and then you're good to go. All of this is stuff that already existed. They're just making it more convenient. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it is what it is.
Well, if this didn't excite you, what did excite me was Spotlight getting smarter on our devices. Spotlight did used to be hit and miss for me. You'd look for something, and maybe only half of the stuff that came up was relevant to what you were searching for. I like the idea of Spotlight searching everything. Like if I'm searching for dogs, if I'm searching for a phone number, if I'm searching for, maybe it's searching the text with business cards I've scanned on top of everything else. I like the idea of looking up Colin Gold and Spotlight and not only getting a message, but maybe getting everything else that Colin Gold happens to be in regard to the apps I use. Maybe with, a Facebook feed, maybe his latest tweets, maybe, any photos that he have sent me over time pop up in that. I like the idea of just having that intelligent search get smarter and smarter and smarter without sacrificing my privacy. I think that's a pretty cool feature. So,
I agree with that. I think that's something that totally will make my phone even more useful. I mean, on my Mac, I search everything through Alfred. So if Spotlight becomes that strong on my iOS devices, I think it's going to be a winner.
Yeah. I'm really excited about that. The rich results for context.
The fact that if you have Find My invites as well, that you can find their location because, instead of, I not created shortcuts to do this. If I want to find out where my wife is, I have a shortcut that launches it and brings it up on her page in Find My. But I think also a quick search, depending on what I'm doing on the phone, sometimes a quick Spotlight search could yield a quicker result and then bring that up. And it shows, at least on the demo they showed at WWDC, you get that little map. So I thought that was pretty cool as well.
Yep. Also, Photos got a little bit of some enhancements here. You got animated titles, music from the Apple Music app. So it will randomly give you different selections of music that kind of fit the maybe the slideshow that you're doing or the photo gallery. I think what's really cool is they use some more of this intelligence stuff to recognize what's happening in the images, take the tones of the images, and kind of use all these different things, and then pick a music that complements the feel of the photos and the video, and create a memory for you. I already think I'm already all in on Apple Photos, right? I'm in there. And I've been doing this now since years before my daughter was even born. I've been in using my iPhone as the way I capture all my photos. So I've got a really good setup, and all it seems like Apple does every single year is take all these photo memories and find different ways for me to enjoy them with minimal effort. And I appreciate those things, that they never stop enhancing what's done with photos. Because let's be honest, man, your photos look great if taken with one of these Apple smartphones, especially the Pro versions, right? They look great. I mean, you get the portrait modes going on, you got all this different stuff, and they just continue to find a way to decorate these memories and make them even stronger and richer. That's the way I look at it. You guys feel differently about photos?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I feel the same way you do, Clay. And I think what I would appreciate most out of this is the actual, increased AI in terms of the search. So if I type in Alaska, I want to see all the pictures of Alaska. And that's a simplistic one that could probably work now on our devices. But, as you get down into the more complex things of what might be in a photo, like I'd like to type in iPhone. It's all the, screenshots that I did, or, the pictures of a phone. We're holding up phones together, or whatever it is. But whatever that element is, that's been sorely lacking and sorely behind something like Google Photos. And if Tim was on the show tonight, he'd probably agree with me on that. But yeah, I'm hoping that is up to the level now where it can actually be useful.
Yeah. All right. So that wraps up the intelligence segment. To wrap up iOS, we have Wallet, Weather, and Maps. So the cool thing about Wallet is that I got out of this is I might be able to have, I'm not sure if Texas is one of those states, but I'll have to look into it, ID cards to Apple Wallet. So no more driver's license.
Is Texas really going to be that advanced, that liberal?
That forward thinking?
I'm doing the T in timeout. So I want to know, first of all, if you add your driver's license to your phone, does that mean, and the state supports it, does that mean that law enforcement officers that pull you over, or state troopers or whatever, are going to have readers, or are you going to give your phone over to an officer? So
Yeah, that's not going to happen ever.
Right, exactly. So before we get all crazy that a driver's license and no wallets, the odds of you getting pulled over, I don't know what the percentage they are, but, I've gotten pulled over before, and I just do not want to give my phone to an officer to go in and have at it, whatever, who knows what they do with it. But
Well, I don't want to give my phone over to a police officer because I don't want them to drop my phone.
Well, that's also too. Yeah, absolutely. Right. But where Apple, the use case was the TSA will be able to accept these as identification for getting on a plane, which I think that's great. And it's a nice first step. But I don't think it's at the point now where we're saying, wallets are gone. You still need your driver's license in certain situations. And I'm not ready to give up that wallet yet.
Even on the TSA side, I think what I am hoping to see is these like app developers for these airline apps to be able to say the owner of this phone verifies that they are the person with the ticket. This ticket belongs to this person. So when this ticket is checked in, I don't have to check in and show ID. I just have to present the one phone. The one phone is the identification. It tells them my flight information. It tells them, if I have my passport, it tells them all of those things that they need to know so that they can just scan the barcode that says checking in, and they go, okay, Mr. Miller, enjoy your flight to wherever you're going. Go ahead.
That's not ever going to really happen because there's so many ways to get around. Not ever. I use the wrong word. That's going to be a long time coming.
Colin, who's the contrarian now?
It's true. I travel all the time. There's absolutely no way that Delta's going to tell me. There's no way that Delta's going to tell TSA that I am Colin Gold.
But you mentioned you travel all the time. Do you use something like Clear?
I do, and they use biometrics, right? So they're using my eyes.
So I could easily see them saying, "Oh, you have Clear? Scan your Clear Pass or whatever that's on your phone in your wallet. You have to."
No, it's on my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that's great and all, but I think other competitors are going to pop up, and I think they're going to try to use technology like this. Again, I'm not saying that there won't be a world someday where they can just scan, my license plate and know and say, hey, are you Mr. Miller? This car is registered to, and I say yes. Here's a barcode scanner that they can scan on my phone and know that I am who I say I am. I'm not saying that won't ever happen. I'm just saying until that happens, there's no way I'm giving someone else my phone to verify who I am.
Right. Yep.
All right. Well, that was.
Plus, they're going to see all the pictures that I have in there.
All right. How about the weather app, guys? It looks like it's completed now, right? It's got everything that Dark Sky had, plus it's going to have the full resolution weather maps as well. Is there a need for a third-party weather app after this? I mean, that's a hard sell, right?
Is there a need for a weather app?
Yes.
With Siri.
But that's what I'm saying. Why can't we just ask the lady in the tube, whether it's on our phone, whether it's through Spotlight, what's the weather going to be like? To me, that's when I mentioned earlier, I said, the last thing we need is Apple creating another app. I think we need to, if we're going to move into whatever the next thing in computing is, I don't think it's going to be apps. I'm sorry. I don't think it's going to be apps.
Time out, Jag. I don't interject there. So the point of this is really that they're rolling in Dark Sky, which has micro area location, precipitation data, whatever it is, and that we brought into the weather app now where what you're talking about, Siri will use certain weather sources, and if if Apple is smart, which I think they are, when you ask Siri to say, is it going to rain, it's going to use the dark sky information to give you that forecast. So that's where I think this is all going.
Right. And what I'm saying is, I think that what we want Siri giving us that information. We want to integrate it into the system so tightly that there is no need for the app anymore. I think we want to be able to say, hey lady, what's the weather? And they go, oh, the weather is going to be this and this. Okay, what about, at 5 o'clock? Oh, well, at 5, it's supposed to be this. Is there rain today? Yeah, I think there's supposed to be rain around 8:07. Like, I think that's what we want, and that's what we get with the dark sky integration.
Jay, I think people like to view the weather. I actually think people like looking at their full resolution weather maps and looking at a forecast a week in advance and seeing a line grid of how the temperature's looking.
Yeah, you have a major.
Wait a second, Clay. Wait, you know what? Jay lives in San Diego.
I was going to say it's a
is no
different
rain.
level of 100 degrees every day in the summer. Like,
Yeah, or like he doesn't have the same issues that we have.
This
Jay,
year
I'm sorry
I
if I
had
called
the
out
winter
your
storm
town.
of all winter storms. Okay.
and again, I'm not saying that we don't need to know what the weather is. I'm not saying that I'm just saying I don't think. Just as much as we don't have, we actually do have a clock app, but a lot of us are now looking at how we can utilize that information, the time, in other ways built into other things. And we always see it in the little corner. I think that we should be able to have that same functionality built into the system. Give me a little cloud in the top that, if it's about to rain soon, if there's going to be a change of weather, like maybe you vibrate a little bit, a little soft nudge. And when you look at your Apple Watch, just hey.
Well, that's a widget. That's a widget. Jay, what you're talking about is a widget. And I have a weather widget on my phone, right? So
yeah, give me that. Don't give me an entire app. Because an entire app is a whole nother thing that has to be updated and supported and will only get updated with every OS release.
Right.
Whereas if it's just a service, the service can just get better behind the scenes and you don't have to wait.
Okay, so if I wanted my widget to change locations, would I have to go online and change that?
No, everything you guys are talking about, you can do right now with your phone right now.
Yeah, you can do all of these things now. I'm just saying.
But I have to have the app to change the location, don't I? That's showing on my widget.
No, you don't. Yeah, I have a weather widget. Right now it says my hometown. If I go to New York City, it's going to say New York City because it's geolocation.
No, but what if you wanted to know about where your family is and how the weather's there?
Right. You can ask Siri.
Yeah, you just say, how's the weather in wherever. I mean, for me, it'd be, how's the weather in Georgia? And it's going to say it's hot.
But that's not going to show up on your widget.
I mean, it can show me a screen.
If you have multiple locations, which can be modified through the application, you can have a quick glance at all those locations without having to say anything to your device.
Right. I see what you're saying. It's a central repository to set locations and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, again, I'm just wondering.
Customize notifications. If I want to customize the fact that, hey, I only want to know when lightning's within 5 miles of my house. You have to have the app to do that. And Carrot offers that functionality where I still don't think, this Apple's weather app's going to have that.
Yeah, I mean.
So, anyway, I'm just saying.
Save money.
Okay, that's another subject. When we don't need apps anymore. All right. Maps, a beautiful new UI, and it's coming to CarPlay later this year. I was blown away by how pretty those maps were.
Too bad you're getting your Tesla truck, so you won't ever get CarPlay with it.
Oh, that stings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they'll have something just as beautiful by that time, though. Come on now.
No, I was in a Tesla this week. It's not going to be that beautiful.
No.
Sorry, I'm going to cancel the Cybertruck.
I'm already crying that I'm going to lose my CarPlay, but.
Yeah. But you spent some time in a Tesla and you were sold, right, Jerry?
Oh, it's a foregone conclusion. I've already watched like 350 YouTube videos on it, so I know exactly what style, I know what rims I'm getting, and forget it. All right. But anyway, let's get back to the thing here. The one thing I was upset about with this is, okay, great, maps look nice. Maps could potentially help you in situations that I've been a lot, like you get out of the subway, you don't know which way is west or east, and especially if you're not a New Yorker and you're not familiar with the territory, okay, hold up your phone, which I'm a little cautious about because Manhattan, if you've ever been in Manhattan, you know that the signals it's a nightmare for location on any cell phone. But that being said, you hold up your phone. This way is south, or this way is the direction you want to go in, which is a great feature if it works. But the one thing I was really upset about is later for CarPlay. Really? Like, maps are critical for driving. Yeah. And this is something later on. I mean, my time with CarPlay is going to be limited because I'm going to be relegated in a Tesla to using Bluetooth and then doing Hey Lady to, watch, and get one of those phone clips that or on the wireless charger. But that being said, why maps and that functionality is part of the OS, and so is CarPlay. So why Apple couldn't get this in, I have no idea, unless someone has a better rationale. Yeah.
I don't know. CarPlay is always the last thing to get anything, so I'm a little disappointed by
Jerry.
that.
Yeah, I guess. But I thought that was a little cheesy.
All right, so this is the iOS Docked podcast, at least partially tonight, and it took us this long. We're almost 1 hour in. We've got through the iOS stuff, so we're going to speed things along quickly now. We got AirPods that got Conversation Boost, announces notifications, uses the focus settings, and uses Find My. Spatial audio now works with TV OS and Mac OS, and spatial audio and Apple Music kicks off the event day, whatever that day that was. But real quick, any experience with spatial audio and Apple Music, and are you a fan or not?
Yes.
Yeah, it works.
Works. It's great. You can hear the difference. It's a stellar experience. I very much appreciate it on my AirPods Pro, and I think that it's a good step in the right direction. I mean, I have no idea what lossless audio is, but you could hear the difference in spatial audio, so it was nice.
Great. I look forward to checking it out. I haven't even checked it out yet, but I look forward to checking out some of the new playlists they've created and see if I can kick back and do some work with my AirPod Maxes on. And
Clay, what I would suggest is on that there is a playlist put together where I think it's Zane Lowe kind of takes a current song. I think it was a Marvin Gaye song, What's Going On, and kind of walks you through, the initial release of it versus the stereo release, and then gets into the obviously, the spatial audio, and you can really hear the difference as he progresses.
Does it improve the song?
I don't know if it improves the song. I just know that
it's just different.
It's different. I think. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, Colin, but it
makes you feel like you're in the studio. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
You can hear where the guitar guy is standing and the saxophone player and some of the music comes some of the music feels like it's right in front of you, and some of it feels like it's to the right or to the left and behind you and in front of you. It's nice.
Can I tell you something that blows my mind with what Apple's done with audio? And maybe you guys have done this too. If you ever got your AirPods in, and you're listening to something on your iPad, right? Mm-hmm. And it's almost as if like you have to take your AirPods out because you think you're playing your iPad at like whole blast, this so loud and everybody can hear it because it sounds like it's coming right out of the iPad, and not from your ears. Have y'all experienced that? Like it sounds nuts. It's like
that's spatial audio, Clay. That's spatial audio on video. All right.
Okay.
So that's how they brought that to music.
That is insane. That always blows my mind. It feels like my AirPods aren't even in my ears, that I'm just hearing it directly from the iPad. And then I take them out and I'm like, nope, it's coming out of those things. I'm looking around to see if anybody's watching me or hearing anything that I'm hearing, because it sounds so real that it's just, it blows my mind. It blows my mind every time.
Yeah.
All right, iPad OS. Big things. We'll go through them pretty fast. Widgets, you can now place them anywhere on your home screens. That's a pretty big deal. And they also included a new larger format for iPad OS only. It's a grid of like what is it, a 8x4, I think, something like that, 8 across, 4 down, or something.
Hey, can everybody hear my golf clap right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
great. That's
Yeah.
great. This is great. This is really going to change the look of our iPad screens now and make it look more like a computer. And then we got App Library that will reside in the dock now, which is funny as heck, because if I look at my dock right now, I have a folder that contains every one of my apps, and I call it App Library.
Ah,
So it will just replace that.
it's locked.
Yeah,
You're ahead of your
App
time.
Library hack got Sherlock.
Right.
You can hide pages you no longer want and needed, and you can reorder them. So that's nice. Same as iOS 14. There is a new menu at the top of every app that easily allows you to swipe between apps on one side while keeping the other side in place. It's this new multitasking gesture interface. You can preview things with a new popover that keeps existing views on both sides in place while popping up over the center of the display to get critical information right in front of you. We also have the shelf, the new shelf feature, which brings up minimal windows of each reference of the app that you're opening. So if you're opening up, say, the Numbers app, you can see all of your recent worksheets that you've been working on in the shelf, minimized for you to tap and open up with ease. I think there's a little bit of disappointment that the shelf is not your clipboard history. I think somebody probably wanted to see that and it didn't happen. So maybe that's something that the shelf could help with in future iterations. Let's see. Easy access to recent windows, and that's pretty much it on the shelf. And then create split view by dragging one app on top of another. Finally, in multitasking, keyboard shortcuts to control multitasking capabilities. So all those cool keyboard shortcuts you want to use to control all of the shortcuts you want to launch, that's happening now. I think this is very cool. Keyboard shortcuts, especially for the guys like me who are spending 16 hours a day on their iPad Pros with a keyboard attached. So very much excited about that. Guys, before we go into notes, anything on multitasking, your view?
Yeah, I'll chime in because I appreciate the new menu at the top of every app because, if you're not committed to muscle memory and swiping and knowing what combination of things yields a certain result, it's kind of tough to navigate the iPad the way Apple wants you to. I think this is going to help tremendously and kind of like setting that straight and kind of guiding you along the process. So I very much appreciate that. But just in general, guys, and real quickly, a lot has been made over the powers of the new M1 iPad. And, just the sentiment I'm getting is that it was really disappointing what Apple released for it. And I don't know what people were looking for. I just know that Apple didn't present, very strongly in the iPad space. And I don't know what people were looking for. I mean, were they looking for Photoshop or something?
Yeah, here's where I was disappointed. Joe, I'm glad you brought this up. I was kind of like, me, I would like to see the Mac go away personally. I don't use it anymore. And I think if the Mac went away, a lot of attention would be, put on the iPad as their main computing platform.
Yeah.
And so that's not happening. Obviously, I think they made that clear today that the iPad, when it's all said and done, is still going to run iPad apps.
Yep.
And the Power apps are going to be for power users on their Power machines, and that's still to them the Mac.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If that's the case, though, they need to drop the Pro name from the iPad. Then, if they're saying that the Pro apps need to be in one location and that's where all the power is, then in that case, fine. Take the Pro. I mean, we know that Pro doesn't mean professional anymore. It means previously, I don't know, more expensive. That basically just means more expensive. It's the more expensive version. It's where they put in the new technology.
Better camera and some additional RAM or storage / processing. That's it.
Here's the problem that I have with them not providing any insight to Pro apps. Adobe said that they were going to bring Photoshop in and that eventually it would be, feature matching to what's on the Mac. Right. Which, I mean, everyone knew that was going to take a while. There have been plenty of professional apps that have been created on the iPad. The Affinity Suite is there. Ferrite, LumaFusion is doing amazing things. The problem that I have is, as I've said before, on this exact recording, Apple needs to do something with their app business. And my preference would be to leave it alone. You have Final Cut, you have Logic, you have these amazing professional tools that I use weekly, that it would be so nice to have these assets on the iPad. They showed something that we're going to talk about later with universal control, where I can drag and drop an object from one device to another. I would absolutely love to have a Logic, panel and timeline on my iPad to where I can use my Apple Pencil to scrub and move information. And I know, Clay uses Ferrite for that. That's fine. But Apple, where are you at? Where are you at with this? Because right now the process is I've got to export it to an MP3, then I can use universal control to drag it over. I'm not going to be able to take a Ferrite object and just move it over to the Mac. That's what they want us to think that's going to happen. That's not what's going to happen. If they really want to sell us this story about professionals using the right tools for the right job, then do it. But provide the application support for it to work, or stop providing the application and start pushing more and more these third-party developers that are focusing on creating a consistent experience on all the devices.
Yeah, that's good, Joe.
I agree.
Yep.
No argument here.
Yeah. And Apple, Apple may do such a thing in the future. And even if it's some kind of limited kind of, here's how you do it. We're implementing it in, what's Word on Apple? What's the word processor called? Notes?
Pages.
Pages, right. We're doing it on Pages. You can drag an object from Pages to the Mac and have it act, the same thing whether you're on little screen or big screen, right? To Jay's point. And then they can then provide the APIs to the third parties and the good developers out there, and then off to the races you go. But it's just not there.
But isn't that what AirDrop is?
And no, that's more for a static file. I'm talking about I guess I could speak for you, Jay, like objects that you design or build or modify in some kind of way, not necessarily a file, right? It could be an image within an Excel spreadsheet or a numbers spreadsheet, right? That you could just take and move from one location to the other.
I mean, a great example of this is just video data. If I'm working on a YouTube video and I'm just doing some basic video editing, that's fine. I can do that on my iPad. I should be able to do that on my iPad. I currently can't because Final Cut is not on the iPad. So I'd have to use something like LumaFusion. And then if I want to take that video and say I need to put an overlay or a LUT on it, I have to then export the video, which if you've ever had to export a video or render video, it takes time. It's not like a 2-second thing. If it's a long video, if it's a big video, it's going to be an hour to get that thing done.
Not on my iPad Pro.
On your iPad Pro, how long does it take? If you to do a 30-minute video, how long would it take to render?
I would say I could probably get it done in about 10 minutes.
Okay, so you have to wait 10 minutes. Once you've done that, you still have to add that video now via AirDrop, or if you save it into iCloud, you then have to go into your Mac, open up Final Cut, insert that video, put the LUT on, and then render it again. Whereas if Final Cut was on the iPad, I could take the video, say, oh, you know what? I'm going to need the processing or RAM or whatever reason, probably RAM in that case, of my Mac. So let me just universal control or just open up the file on my Mac, close it on my iPad, apply the LUT, continue to save it, then render it out, and I've saved myself 10 minutes. And for me, that's just 10 minutes. When you're working on a movie and when you're working on your college project, if you want to be out in the field, I could imagine that is the user story. That is the pro user story. Hey, we're working on the next Marvel movie, and someone has their iPad out and they take a picture using their iPad like you know those people that do that. And then they put it into something. They apply some filter on it, and they go, yeah, it's going to look like this in the end. They go, yeah, that's great. We love it. And then they just say, okay, throw that over to the Mac, and then it's done. And then they're back doing what they have to do. That, to me, is the story. That's the professional story that Apple wants to tell.
Right.
But they can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Jay, there's your segment, man. You just ruined it, man. You could have held that for the end. All right. Let's move on. We got notes. What do you guys think about Quick Note?
That's Jay's Tech Talk segment for this evening, sponsored by.
No. The Tech Talk topic at the end is going to be a good one.
Okay, we'll say. Guys, we got Quick Notes from the bottom right corner of the screen in any application. You can bring it right up. You can jot a note. You can save a web link. You can URL. You can highlight some text and capture it. You can save an image. You can do all these cool little things. And then when you happen to be back in that same instance of the application or back in the same web page or note, those references will pop up for your, for you to take notice of, and you can attach more information to it. I think it's a really cool little feature, and it's something that I would think like a utility you'd put on a Mac, right? Like something a keyboard shortcut would launch. You'd bring up something and type it in or capture your clipboard and then go away when you're done. I think this is a very cool pro-like app that is now going to be baked into iPad OS. Thoughts on Quick Note, guys?
Make it an API, make it available to other apps.
Yep, that would be cool.
Is it only iPad OS?
Yes, I don't think there was any mention of it on iPhone.
No.
Yeah.
Make it an API, make it available to other apps.
Yep, I'm good with that. I'll probably have to come up with some shortcut that just takes everything in my Quick Note and puts it in my TickTick inbox.
Imagine doing this with drafts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, see, that's the thing about drafts. That's not going to be necessary anymore, though, especially if you got the keyboard shortcuts and you're using it in that kind of view. Now, if you're using the touchscreen interface, yeah, that's different. But man, on the launch a keyboard shortcut to create a new draft, just boom, done right in the shortcut text entry box. So I think that's kind of nice. But anyway, I think Notes continues to grow with the platform and become more and more powerful. You can also mention people in a note and grab their attention and send them notification. Tags with the tag browser. That's cool. So it'll automatically recognize the tags that you put inside each note. So that makes it easier to filter your notes and organize them in any way you'd like. And that's something that Bear prides itself on. So that's maybe a feature straight from them. Translation, you got auto translate, system-wide translation, works with live text. And then finally, you got Swift Playground, build apps on the iPad. Now, I have to imagine that this is going to be pretty basic, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's, create anything from the iPad these days. I really don't know because I'm not a programmer, but Jay, you're as close as we got on this show to one. What do you think? Do you think you can actually build a complex task management productivity app on your iPad? Did we lose Jay?
Uh-oh.
We might have lost Jay.
Yeah, Jay got out. All right. I'll bring Jay back in. And let me ask you, who else, Jerry or Colin? Fill me in. What do you think about building apps on your iPad?
I think this is one where Apple's falling down. I mean, they need to get the full-on API development environment right on the iPad and allow developers to take that code with them, build apps, whatever. You got an M1 processor on an iPad Pro, full stop. I mean, this Playground thing is almost an insult. And, I know I'm not the only one that felt that way, feels that way as well. So they have to do a better job. This is just not good enough at this point in time, especially with and this, maybe I just answered one of my questions before in terms of what people wanted, but I think this is one thing specifically that developers want to do. Yep.
Okay.
internet.
Yeah, Jay's back. I thought he had bailed when he found out that you could build apps on his iPad, and then he left. And so maybe he got excited and started working
he
on
got
one.
insulted because it's Swift Playground, and
Yeah.
come on.
I mean, it's going to be interesting. Kids nowadays will enjoy the experience of having their apps rejected for being too simplistic.
That's so harsh.
What's the matter? Fart apps no good anymore?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Moving into privacy. Mail gets a little bit more private. Now you can, you can no longer have your pixels tracked. So if you like that, you can hide your IP address, location, and open emails. So that's nice. You can give fake email addresses to people who are looking for an email address, and Apple will keep track of all that for you, so you don't have to manage all that.
Hey Clay, I have some, now I have some good ammunition for our next app battle because I'm the
you will.
guy.
Yeah, you'll have a we'll have to have one of those soon. Safari app privacy report. You can actually see how your apps are treating your privacy. Maybe like some kind of little report card for all the third-party apps that use your privacy information. Siri,
Hey, Clay.
audio never leaves you. Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm sorry for cutting you off. Listen, I want to go off on my little tirade here, and it'll be brief. But let's talk
Okay, go
about
for
mail
it,
for
Colin.
a second. All right.
Okay.
How can we possibly get a mail improvement in terms of privacy, but the same old crappy mail app that we've had for the last 20 years? Like, I don't even understand. Maybe it's not 20, 13 years. I don't even understand how this is possible.
I know the answer to this
like,
question, Colin.
It was the one thing I was waiting for. It's like, they're going to do something interesting. And really, all I want is a share sheet for mail. Like, that's all I want. A share sheet for mail, and I will be happy. And they can't even update the mail app. I don't even get it. This is my biggest disappointment in Apple, and that's it for my tirade.
When Apple does mail updates, they are going to change email. That is my prediction. They are not going to mess with email until they change the game completely. And Apple Mail is going to be a totally new way of communicating.
Here's the problem that I have since we're going on tirades. As someone who, technically I am still a marketer, since even though I am a developer advocate, we report under our marketing department. We have ways of getting information to you based on your behavior, even if we don't know your IP address, your location, and whether or not you opened it. If you click a link that says I'm interested in this, that gets recorded, and you then go into another funnel that goes into another thing, even if it's the wrong email. Like, we're still getting the message out. We don't care. The people that do care are the people that are selling that data. And I think that what Apple, in my opinion, should be doing, instead of doing security and privacy theater, just like Hey was doing with, we block the read receipts and stuff. Like, that's okay. Everybody knows that read and click receipts on marketing stuff is bad anyway. No one cares. It's 3% of the statistic. So what they should have been doing was saying, how do we improve this? How do we work with these other companies, these companies that focus on advertising revenue and things like that, to make a better and safer experience, a private experience, instead of just literally gridlocking and saying, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to shut it off. We're just going to shut off the fire hose of information from them. I don't necessarily like what Google's doing with the whole Flock ID thing. I don't like what Apple's doing with the whole obfuscation thing. I think it's security theater. It's privacy theater. Facebook, I never like what they're doing, so I don't really care about them. But I think if they got together and said, how do we do this in a way that respects the privacy of our users while also giving the advertisers what they're looking for, that way everybody can go home paid and happy. But they're not doing this because they're quibbling with each other. Everybody wants to have the next security win, the next privacy win, because that's what's going to make their stock evaluation go up.
So you think Apple really, probably deep down, doesn't care about our privacy.
I think Apple does not care about your privacy, Clay. I think more than anything, Apple cares that people are buying Apple because they think privacy is important. So they're making decisions, whether they're good or bad, based on the fact that if they do this, it's another thing that they can say, well, Android does this, but we do this other thing. And all of the people that buy iPhones love this. Instead of saying, we genuinely believe that privacy should be a human right. Therefore, we've worked with the major advertising networks around the world to ensure that they get good advertising tools and techniques while not getting access to your data.
Yeah, I think that's a little overreaching. And the only reason why I say that is because that's not how Apple works. You know, I mean, yes, Apple has recently joined consortiums or, things for smart homes or whatever, but Apple has traditionally never gone out to the market to say, oh, we're going to work with you to drive to this end result. Usually Apple says, we'll take the end result and we'll make it better for you, by doing it our way or a better way or a more efficient way or whatever, easier way. But Apple has traditionally not done that. So I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. That would be the more customer-friendly way of approaching it. But I think it's overreaching with the fact that a lot of companies don't care what Apple does because they know Apple does it, quote unquote, better. So yeah, I think that's it's just something that it's not going to happen anytime soon. That's just my opinion.
I think Apple joins in on these coalitions when they're losing. Yeah. Not when they're winning. Yeah, when they're winning, like it's right. Apple all day, every day. Forget everybody else. Yep. When they're losing, it is, hey, we've got HP printers, available for us. We've got Matter, the new incentive to make it so that HomeKit apps can also support, the Amazon ecosystem and the Google Home ecosystem and all of these things. It's no longer one for all. It's, hey, we lost this war. Let's figure out a way that we can still get some market share on that front.
Yep.
All right, we got.
Those are all very, very pessimistic ways of looking at it.
They are. They are, guys. Okay. All right. Got to move along now. Account recovery. You can add a contact to your account recovery settings, which, for example, if you lose your password or something and somebody else has access, they can grant you access to your account. I think that's pretty cool and important, especially with the horror stories we've heard in the past about somebody losing access to their Apple account. So with everything that's tied to your Apple account these days, I can understand wanting another layer of protection against losing that data.
Oh, wait, is that the if you die scenario?
I was going to say, this is the
digital
death
legacy.
story.
That's a little bit different. Digital legacy means you add a contact in case of death.
Right.
That they can have access to your digital records.
Yep.
Let's see, iCloud Plus, private relay, encrypted browser traffic, hide my email, HomeKit secure video, and all these changes came with iCloud at no additional price, which a lot of people think iCloud's already too expensive for what it offers, but they didn't go up in price for this, so there's a win there. Moving into the health app, you have enhancements in mobility, fall risk, trends, which monitors changes in activities, and health sharing. You can privately share with your doctor and things like that, or other family members, your health information. So that would be nice. I know my wife, if she was a techie like me, would want to keep tabs on my health and what I'm probably eating and whether I'm sleeping enough or taking good care of myself. So I can understand this being helpful for those looking out for loved ones.
Can I just get a band? Like, I don't want to watch. I just want the wrist thing.
Fitbit?
I mean, I would prefer an Apple one because that way I do get all of the health stuff. I don't need the screen. I mean, I have a Series 0 that I stopped wearing.
Oh, and it wasn't dude, I got it. Just flip your watch upside down to the other side of your wrist.
Actually, I know people that did that because it apparently gave you better readings when you were working
No
out.
kidding. Oh,
Okay.
interesting. Or you can do this. You can actually turn on. You know what? I don't know. Does all the activity stuff on the Apple Watch work if you go into power saver mode?
I have no idea. Again, I haven't worn my watch in over a year.
Well, speaking of WatchOS, we got some updated things. We got Breathe that has added Reflect and Sleep app, and this is just going to enhance these these meditational moments on your wrist. So that's nice. Fitness got Tai Chi workouts, Pilates workouts, new fitness workouts, and some artist spotlights so that you can listen to some custom playlists on your watch that go well with the workouts that you've selected.
Yawn.
Any excitement there?
Yawn.
Fail.
Okay. Yeah, this was the weakest WatchOS WWDC ever,
Yeah.
right? Y'all agree?
Yeah.
You got a new watch face that zooms in on a portrait face.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got scribble enhancements, and you can reply with a GIF now. So
I
there's
want to
that.
say all of this stuff that we're bored with, there are going to be normies out there that absolutely eat this stuff up. They love this. So, I mean, good job for Apple. Apple's doing the right thing. They're making their money. But yeah, this is the non-technical excitement.
Yeah.
The watch thing is a really cool, interesting use case in machine learning, but other than that, it's a watch face.
Oh, what about multiple timers, Jay?
Oh, you mean the thing that they should have came out with like, I don't know, the first iPhone?
Multiple timers. Multiple
15
timers. I mean,
years later, we're
you can
finally
literally
getting
set a power nap timer while you are setting a timer for the cookies in the oven.
That's what I got a HomePod for.
Yeah, and the HomePod does multiple timers now, right?
Yeah. It has
That's a
been-
big deal, guys, that all the Apple devices do multiple timers.
This has been an app in the App Store for at least 6 years.
Yep. And now what? I guess now they're all Sherlocked. Great job, Apple. You just wiped out a third of your app library.
But I mean, what do they expect us to like give them an award for this? Like,
Hey,
why even
hold
say
on.
this?
So I didn't remember this in the keynote. Are they saying multiple timers on the watch, or they're saying
Yes.
multiple timers across the OS?
No, it's watch. This is a
Oh,
watch
just
feature.
watch? Okay, then.
The iPhone does not get multiple timers.
So it still sucks.
Okay. No, but I thought Siri supports multiple timers. Full stop.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even
whatever.
care at this point. If I need multiple timers, I'll do one on my iPhone and one on my watch, okay?
I'll use do.
Good. There you go. All right. Home got some new features. You got home keys, so you can easily get into your house and other areas that require keys with just using your phone, hotel rooms, those kind of things. But that's kind of cool. Hands-free TV play. You can just speak to your TV, your Apple TV now. You no need for your iPhone or anything like that. You can just say, hey, play the latest episode of Mosquito Coast, and there you go. Let's see, for all of you, perfect for family night. They have another feature that applies that kind of like a filter for everybody in the family. You can have shared TV experiences. Everybody can be. I'm thinking that every family member can sit in different rooms of the house and watch the same program. Doesn't that bring the family closer together?
If you're sitting in different rooms.
I may have that wrong. That's just how I remember it in my head right now.
Get to the next one so I can get my wrap-in comments on this one.
Okay. Siri for everyone enables Siri and third-party products.
They should have announced a partner with this. They talked about Ecobee coming soon. I wanted to see a TV that has Apple TV built into it that would also have Siri built into it. They could have talked to LG or someone like that. The home key stuff, they should have been like, hey, this fancy door that we're showing off is brought to you by this other person in the fall or whatever. All of this stuff. And I mean, a lot of this stuff probably could have waited until, I don't know, the operating system was going to be made available to everybody regularly.
Yeah.
because none of this stuff matters until the fall. And then in the fall, we'll be lucky if there's like 2 products that are way overpriced that support it.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're right on with that one. Right on. All right, and we got more Apple Watch features in regard to home. We got the intercom on the Apple Watch now, doorbell package detection. They can detect when there's a package at your door.
Oh boy. Okay.
That's kind of cool. All right, that pretty much wraps up home. We're into Mac OS. Now, here's the thing about Mac OS. A lot of this stuff is going to be duplicate functionality that the iPad and iPhone got. SharePlay being one, Quick Note, continuity. Jay briefly mentioned universal control, how we can use one trackpad and keyboard to control a vertical layout of all your devices, which is kind of neat. The big news, though, was shortcuts coming to the Mac. Jay, you're probably the guy who's mostly going to use this, this feature, I'm guessing. And I don't mean to cut you out, Colin or Jerry. I just know that this is where Jay likes to shine, is how to get productive as possible on his MacBook by tinkering and putting things together. Do you think shortcuts is going to be a very big deal for Mac users?
I think shortcuts will be just as important as on the Mac as it is on iOS. And that's to say, for some people, yes, there will be 1 or 2 shortcuts that they do that's absolutely phenomenal and wonderful. To the majority of the world, they will never use this. Or if they do use this, it'll be something that they're shown or that's done for them. Or hopefully, like they've been doing, it will integrate with apps so that you can say, hey, you can just tell Siri to do this, and it'll create the shortcut for you. Honestly, I mean, the automation space on the Mac, it's not great, but I don't think the problem is shortcuts versus Automator. It's AppleScript. Like, half of the apps out there don't support AppleScript anymore. JavaScript for automation is way too complicated for most everyday users to use, let alone trying to get people to use something like Python or Ruby or Go or Rust or any of those things. Honestly, I'm interested to see what you can and can't do with shortcuts that you can or can't do in tools like Keyboard Maestro. I feel like there's going to be a lot of like browser automation type stuff that Keyboard Maestro will just continue to dominate on. But ultimately, I mean, it is what it is. They were going to have to do it. I said it wasn't coming this year because the app ecosystem on Mac is a nightmare still. Apparently, I was wrong. I was expecting them to announce this when all of the Macs were on M1 chips. They still got Intel devices running out there, which means, as for me, I probably won't even get to use this. So, who knows?
No, I get the impression that some of it's going to work on Intel, Jay. Not all of it. But I got the impression from what I read is that there will be things that, like, most will work on Intel, but there will be certain things like the timers and some certain things that the on-device items that'll be the issue if you don't have an M1 Mac. But other than that, I'm thinking that almost everything works. And to that point, I see it, just like Jay said, being just as exciting as when Shortcut came to the iOS, right? So Clay, you have to imagine that there's another Clay Russell out there who's a Mac user who has 752 shortcuts, right? That guy's going to exist.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for Mac users that they have this. I'm just thankful. I guess every time I hear about the Mac, I'm just so thankful that I don't need a Mac and an iPad anymore. It's nice to not have to manage 2 separate devices that pretty much do the exact same things for me. So that's nice, but I'm happy that Mac users have these shortcuts because it keeps them from having to move between 2 different devices to do a task. And shortcuts, to be honest, made it very easy to do mundane tasks using the apps on your devices. So I mean, if this pulls people away from Automator over time and into shortcuts, and people who are Mac users for the first time know how to use shortcuts on their phone, and now they have a Mac, it's going to be simple for them. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm familiar with this. I can do this. And it's going to, eventually, like they said, I think Automator is going to phase out and be phased in to shortcuts. And the power user features, like you were mentioning, Jay, with the scripts and things like that. I think those things just kind of fade out unless you have some kind of third-party utility that you're still using. Shortcuts will just be the default route for everything that you want to do automatically on your Mac.
Well, think about this also, and obviously I use shortcuts on iOS platform, but on the Mac, think about it, with the future possibility of having shortcuts on the Mac perform in the UI, something like a Windows Manager or something, because that's something that shortcuts should be able to do. And then think about what possibilities that could have in the future for iOS, which, oh, by the way, runs on an M1 as well. So, obviously this is more of, like Clay's iDream segment, but I can see that happening where you'll have specific things that work in Mac OS that might filter down eventually to the iPad. And I think that's Apple's ultimate goal.
Yep. I'm with you on that. I believe that too. All right. The final thing on Mac OS, which is a pretty big deal, is the complete reinvention of what a browser is supposed to look like. Very modern and minimal UI with tab groups, tab bar that takes on the color of the current web page. And extensions along with this is kind of cool. Extensions come to iOS and iPad OS. And the first thing I thought of was Honey for Amazon. Y'all use that?
No.
Boo.
The Honey extension for Amazon that automatically searches for all the coupon codes and everything and then applies it to your Amazon purchase?
Yes, I use Honey, but at the same time, boo, this entire section, boo, so hard. All they're doing is making web developers' jobs that much harder because every time they make a change, all those web developers, granted, there's a reason why a lot of, apps that have a lot of things happening behind the scenes often start with you must be using Chrome or Chromium browser to do this, because every time Safari says we're going to do this new thing that's going to change how you use this tool, it makes designers and developers cringe because they're like, great, that's another thing that I have to build around that's only going to be supported by a few people, but if it looks like crap on Safari, people are going to complain and I'm going to lose my services. Versus just making a good browser. Like, Safari's fine. Stop messing with it. Stop adding this stuff that you're going to forget about. What happened to bookmarks? Now they're tab groups, I guess. How many people still use bookmarks on their Macs? Not in... Oh, actually, I don't even know. Can you use bookmarks on iOS? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Time out. I got a whole roll of bookmarks. My banking site, YouTube. Like what? You don't go to these sites on your browser?
I do, but the thing is, I've gone to them so many times, the history just knows.
So you're typing.
He uses quick launchers, man. He's a quick launcher guy.
Yeah. Also, I do have certain shortcuts that just run automatically, depending on the day of the week that I use to pay bills, so I don't forget.
You know what? That you said that is funny. Jerry, one of the things that I do is I have a shortcut that says reconcile. It opens my financials tracker app, and then it opens up individually all the websites that I need to go to reconcile those purchases. And so it's one tap away on a shortcut. It opens everything and then puts it right in front. So
bookmarks is just like Pocket. We swear we're going to use them. We fill them up with a bunch of crap, and then they go there to die. They go there to just never get opened ever again.
My bookmarks are extremely organized. Extremely. Like alphabetically. So that's me. That's how I roll, okay? It's got to be just right.
Is someone going to write up a script for me to open up all my Tesla sites that I go to now?
Talk to me. We can make this happen. I will say tab groups do one thing that I really do like. I just wish it didn't live forever in a thing. I do like the fact that I can open up 5 different tabs and then share all of those tabs with someone via, the share sheet, which apparently isn't on Mail still. But I think that had they just done that, they say, oh, you want to share this? Oh, you want to create a link that opens up all of those things? You can now do that in ShareKit. Like, you can just hit the share button and say, like, share the entire tab group or something like that. That's fine. I don't need a... I love the examples they use. They're like, oh, yeah, for that trip that you're taking or that recipe that you're making. I'm like, so things that I'm going to do once a year maybe, and then I'm going to delete this tab group because it has no business living in my browser for the other, 51 weeks out of the year.
All right, guys, we're at the end of this. Wrapping up with some developer technologies. You have some new APIs, object capture, Swift enhancements, App Store, 600 million weekly viewers, 239 billion paid to developers, create multiple app product pages, in-app events, a new App Store widget, in case you weren't getting enough App Store stuff, Xcode Cloud, run apps in parallel on all devices, secure and powerful, limited beta available immediately. And then we go into the outro where they announce the developer beta today, public beta next month, and a launch in the fall. That wraps up our WWDC recap. But there's more. But first, we must let our listeners know how they can reach us. Jerry, how can our listeners reach you?
You can find me on Twitter at JNGold. You can check out my blog at techmusings.me. And you can find me on the consolidated, whatever this thing is, podcast like GTD Jedi and also iOS Docked.
All right. How about you, Colin?
You can find me at Colin Gold on Twitter, as well as a bunch of other shows here on the TechSide Network. Jay. And you can find me with Jay trying to figure out weird shortcuts in Keyboard Maestro scripts.
Oh, is it my turn? Okay.
It's your turn.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at KJY Miller. You can hear about upcoming podcast projects that I have going on at KJY Miller or kjymiller.com. And, of course, the YouTube channel, which is apparently I'm a YouTuber boy now, so youtube.com/KJY Miller.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Clay Russell, you can find me on Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram at that same handle. And I also do a number of other podcasts here on the TechSide Network. So now we're going to move into I likes, I dislikes, our takeaways from WWDC. We're going to try to keep this concise, Jerry, and Colin, and Jay, so we can continue the flow of this show. Jerry, real quick, I likes, I dislikes from the event.
Yep. Okay. So very simply, Siri on device, Clutch, Dark Sky weather integration, live text, iPad multitasking, and iCloud Plus. All my likes.
Sure. Good stuff. Colin.
The focus across all of the platforms. I am really looking forward to that. And shortcuts on Mac.
Me as well. All right. Jay?
No pro apps on iOS or iPadOS. No new hardware. No knowledge of new hardware coming. All dislikes.
Dislikes. Okay. And I'm going to I like all this stuff. I like iPad multitasking. I think it's nice. I already was really fluent with the way iPad, ran multiple apps. But this is a nice little enhancement, and I'm good with it. Keyboard shortcuts, game changer for me. Quick Note, gotta love it. It's like a Mac utility for your iPad. And then Focus, same as Colin. I'm excited to set this up. And yeah, like Jay said earlier, I think tinker is the right word for this. Focus is going to be the tinker feature of the year. All right, hail, stales, and fails. Jay, I don't know if you're familiar with this segment, but basically you're going to call hail, stale, or fail on each of these headlines. So here we go. These are things that were actually not really announced at WWDC, but were discovered in the days following. iPad OS 15 and Mac OS Monterey bring low power mode to iPad and Mac.
Hail.
Stale.
Stale.
Fail.
Fail.
Yeah. It should have been there already.
Okay,
Oh, I love that. Fail. Again, I agree with Colin. Fail.
Drag and drop support for images and text and other things in iOS 15 on the iPhone, guys.
Stale.
Hail.
Hail.
Is it fail for the same reasons, Colin?
Should have been there.
Oh, well, it could be fail for the same reasons. Yeah, it could.
Yeah, should have been there.
All right. You get a choice with software updates. You can just take security updates and stay on iOS 14, or you can take iOS 15. It's your choice now as a customer.
Yeah.
Stale.
Built-in authenticator for passwords.
Hell.
Stale. You can place multiple copies of the same app on any of your home screens.
Fail.
Stale.
Stupid.
Fail.
Why would you do that?
It's dumb.
Because if you have a different focus and you have a different home screen, but you might want the Slack app on your network homepage and then maybe your work homepage.
Oh, all right, Hal.
Yeah. Only the nerds that use this fail.
FaceTime mute alert. So FaceTime can now alert you when you're muted. That would be so helpful if we used FaceTime for these podcasts.
Fail.
Hell.
Stale.
Fail. It should be across all voice applications.
Temporary iCloud storage gives you like 30 days of free unlimited use of iCloud while you're transferring devices.
Fail.
Mega fail.
Stale.
5 gigabyte storage.
Mega fail. You people are gonna upload their stuff and then complain again why they ran out of iCloud storage after a month.
App badge notifications can now be disabled as a whole when users are in Do Not Disturb or focus mode, or just in general, you could just take all the notifications off, all the badges. They could all be gone with one button toggle.
Hell.
Fail.
Wait, did you say that you could push one button and they just mark everything as red?
Well, they're not going to mark it as red.
don't
They'll just
see
take
them.
the badges away.
Oh, fail. You should be able to mark it as red.
Everything is red. I'm seeing red.
You mean really wipe them out? You want them gone.
Yes.
Clean house.
Yes.
Call it badge 0. All right.
Instant inbox 0 mode. That's what I want.
There you go. iOS 15 can automatically add and remove widgets to a smart stack. Hail.
Stale.
That's a very smart stack. All right.
I'll give that a
was
hail.
funny.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't use smart stack, so I don't care. Stale.
Yeah. Not that smart.
tvOS 15 lets you sign into apps using Face ID on your iPhone.
Hell.
That is awesome,
Finally.
guys. Have you? Yeah, that so you don't have to do the little. See, before it was you'd have to use the little clicker and do it on your remote, but then they let you do the the keyboard text box would pop up as a notification, right? In later editions, and now you just have to look at your phone.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's
All
great.
right, so hell. iOS 15 allows you to request refunds for in-app purchases directly within apps if the app providers, the app developers provide that feature.
Hell.
Hail.
Fail. It should be across the board.
Think it should be mandatory?
It should be mandatory. But that way those kids that spend all that money, those parents can get that money back. And don't give me that whole parents need to be watching their kids. No, I got a 2-year-old. She gets into stuff. She bought some movie the other day, and I don't even know how she did it, and I was watching her. So no, I want to be able to just be refund that right now.
Wait till she's 14.
God, this is the show of rants unlike any other. All right. iOS photos now let you mark people, places, and dates to suggest less often as featured images.
Hell. I'm so sick
Hell.
of my ex-wife.
I don't have an ex-wife.
I get pictures.
Just for the record, I'm sick of
Fail.
Okay. Let's see here. What else do we got? Now, I'm hoping somebody else records just in case I lost my recording. I hope I didn't. I don't think I did. Did anybody else record this? Jay, you
Nope.
record?
Nope.
Last time I did it didn't get used, so I didn't.
Okay. Well, let's hope I'm recording here. All right. So the other thing is Bantha Fodder, and this comes from the GTD Jedi podcast. I'm curious to know what's been Sherlocked on your device as it pertains to any of these new features that Apple has added with the latest operating system updates. So,
Hey, Clay.
Clay. Yeah.
You're not recording.
It says Clay is recording.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm seeing that I'm recording.
I have a recording in the chat, but I also see that Clay is recording.
I don't see anything on my
Sorry.
little window.
You scratch that. You can mark the time and just delete me out. Sorry about that.
No, you're okay. I'm just going to leave it in because that's too much work. All right, so
If only you could do it on a Mac.
Bantha fodder. So, Jerry, I'll start with you. I'm going to go
Nope,
around the table
nothing.
here.
I use mostly stock apps. So,
Mhm.
With the exception
So are
of
you going to be able to uninstall Zoom or Microsoft Teams or anything like that?
No. We use I use that for work. So the one thing that might get Sherlocked is Google Authenticate, which if Password Authenticator works the way it's supposed to, that might Sherlock the Google app. But everything else, I would use anyway. So.
All right. So here's the thing. FaceTime, just speak up if you're going to be uninstalling any devices or any apps from your device because of FaceTime. No. Nobody's deleting anything. Nothing got Sherlocked in FaceTime. Okay. iCloud Plus, is anything moving to iCloud as their sole document provider?
No.
Okay. Photos, is anybody uninstalling anything Photos related because Photos got smarter?
No.
Okay. Anybody uninstalling 1Password or LastPass?
No.
No, but that's not.
No, but to Jerry's point, if this is good, I will get rid of Google Authenticator and just move to iOS Authenticator just because if it's a thing.
I just use 1Password's authenticator. Like what? I don't understand. What is the difference?
I'm not on 1Password, so there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess.
Okay. What about the live text? Are you guys using any of those utilities? And I think Apple's will be good enough to replace it.
OCR Sniper on Mac might go away. I actually just downloaded it because it's a fairly new app. But I mean, honestly, is this on the Mac too? Live text?
How would it? So what would you do?
Pull up a picture and select.
Yeah.
I would think it'd do it in preview, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Announced, I don't think it was. I think they would have put that in here in their Mac notes, and they did not even mention that. I think that would have been a pretty big deal for the Mac as well.
Oh, in that case, no.
Okay. What about Apple Maps, guys? Are you deleting Google Maps, uninstalling Google Maps?
No.
I already use it, so no.
Call and Mail. Dude, Mail got a couple of enhancements for privacy.
Oh yeah, wait. Let me get rid of all my other mail apps. All 15
Superhuman,
of them.
out of here.
I haven't used Superhuman in forever.
Gone.
It's like 3 months, Jay, but it's okay.
Hey, email gone.
I mean, Big Mail's coming out soon. I think it does all the same things and actually looks better than the default mail app.
Doesn't have a share sheet.
I've heard some things about that. Is it anything to get excited about, really?
No.
Supposedly it's Hey, but with your actual mailboxes, and you don't have to create a new mail account. But they also have a problem of actually getting data or getting the app actually out. It was supposed to be out in like April, and it got pushed. And now that it's available for pre-order, it was supposed to be out last week, and apparently Apple said no. And now he's trying to figure out why he can't get it out. So I feel like this is almost like a Newton-like issue where I don't necessarily hate the app, but the creator I have a lot of questions for, and he won't respond to any of my inquiries. So who knows?
What about shelf apps? I don't think this shelf app thing that Apple showed off in WWDC is anything remotely like shelf apps as we know them.
No.
Okay. Dark Sky, is it done for?
I mean,
They're
I
going to
don't.
extend it for another year.
Because Apple's going to decommission it. But yeah.
You should have said carrot weather.
They just gave it shelf life for another year, though.
Yeah, but
is carrot gone? Is carrot weather a goner?
Yeah, carrot weather.
I actually started using Carrot Weather's other feed because I knew Dark Sky was supposed to go away, and it has been just as friendly in terms of how quickly a storm is coming to my house or when it's going to start raining or all those things. So I don't think Carrot's going away, but I might give up Carrot if the weather app has everything it promises.
Yeah.
You said carrot and friendly in the same sentence. I don't trust it.
It does curse at me, though. That stupid app does curse at me all the time.
Yeah, well, you got to change the settings
Gotta tone
to
it
less
down.
snarky.
Yeah,
Less
exactly.
snarky. Yeah. And by the way, like it also lets you pick your political setting, and
Right.
it burns me still. Like, what the heck, man?
Right.
Anyway,
Triggered.
Note apps. Note apps. Anybody uninstalling any Note apps because of QuickNote?
Nope.
I'm debating it. But
Which one?
we'll see. We'll see. I'm
Well,
not.
get rid of it.
Drafts and maybe Craft. I don't know.
Okay.
Notes has tagging. Craft doesn't have tagging yet. Like
Yeah.
that's a whole nother conversation that's unrelated to Notes itself. Maybe some of the Roam Research and Notion folks will get off those apps and switch to Notes.
So you think third-party developers, for the most part, are pretty safe from being Sherlock this time around?
Yeah, because WWDC, as far as the keynote goes, was not for them. They didn't get anything that made them like it didn't change anything for them. It just said, "Hey, we're Apple. Here's all the fancy new stuff that we can do that you can't." So I think that they might be in danger, but not yet.
All right. Well, in closing this show, we're going to ask you to stick around. Our listeners they'll have their iOS Doc Extra Edition show coming up right after this, but we're going to go ahead and close this one out. So please subscribe to this show and Apple iTunes podcast. This is some old information here. I don't even know what it's called anymore. What do you subscribe to? What's it called? Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
If you
subscribe
can.
to that. Yeah.
Wow.
If it's available.
Leave us a review and comment. Please show your support for as little as $1 a month and get our secret feed for additional iOS Doc Extra Edition content. And you're not going to want to miss this because Jay has a very special question for us all. All right. So, just give us some money and we'll keep, doing podcasts like this because we know you want more of this. Thank you, King George Williams Jr., for our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful donations that we receive on a monthly basis. You're a good guy, and we're proud to have you as our listening sponsor each and every episode of iOS Docked. You can find out how to be just like George at www.patreon.com/TechSide. Once again, we thank those who have already made a commitment to the TechSide network. You can leave us a comment on Twitter at iOS Docked, email the podcast at iOSDocked@TechSide.net, check out our website at TechSide.net/iOS Docked. Be sure to check out all the other great podcasts, the blogs, photo galleries, and the TechSide store on TechSide.net. Thank you all for listening. Adios.
Cheers.
It's not working.
I guess Jay doesn't know I go last.
Oh, bye.
Take care.
We want to thank our listeners, those loyal soldiers who download each and every podcast. So from the entire iPhone Doc crew, we dedicate this to you. And you know we represent from New York City to Texas, the entire mobile nation, yo. Yo, it's the iPhone Doc. Is your business, boy. We got your witness. Rocking the latest betas like we play as mobile innovators. Keeping it fresh, we consistent like a mother would. Lock the dick, 'cause in 2 weeks will be the next one. We obsessed, cuz call it a mobile crisis. Falling in with carpal tunnel from our iDevices. Look around you, Apple got this game locked. You wanna know the rest? You got the iPhone Doc. Yo, it's the iPhone Doc. This for all you player-hating Android busters. This was made on an iPad, bitch. Yo, and we out. Holla.